All right, so we are here with another group of our mediumship literature. We meet every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Everybody's welcome to join us. Just contact me through my Facebook page at Revenant or my website, Revenant.world, and I'll be happy to include you on our live discussions. It's free of charge, and everybody's welcome. So we are reading The Gospel According with Spiritism by Allan Kardec. We are almost at the end of this book, and we are going to start where we finished last week. We are reading in sequence, in order from the beginning to the very end. So today we are going to continue on chapter 28. Reading Thanksgiving for the benefit granted to our enemies. So let's do our initial prayer and we are going to start reading. Dear God, thank you very much for this wonderful day. Thank you for the lives of each one in here. Thank you for our lives, for another day of living that you granted us. Thank you for our health, for our families, for everything we have that's provided by you. Please help us to understand the things we are going to read and apply in our daily lives in order to grow spiritually through those precious teachings from spirits. Thank you for your unconditional love. Amen. All right, so who would like to start is number 48 of the chapter 28 of the Gospel According with Spiritism. Anyone can read.
Is it thanksgiving for blessing received by our enemies?
Exactly.
Okay, and 49 is the prayer, Dear God and your justice.
Yes, so do the preface, 48, and then the prayer. And
oh, preface, yeah, okay. Yes. I can start.
Thank you.
Okay, to not desire evil towards your enemies is to be only partially charitable. True charity consists in wishing them well and feeling happy about the good that comes to them. See chapter 12, items 7 and 8. Prayer. Dear God, in your justice you saw fit to make X happy, and on his behalf I thank you, despite the evil he has done to me and still tries to do. If he seeks to use this benefit to humiliate me, I accept this as a test of my capacity for charity. Good spirits who protect me, do not let me become regretful because of this. Turn away from me all jealousy and envy, which only degrades. On the contrary, inspire me with the generosity that elevates. Humiliation comes from evil and not from goodness. And we know that sooner or later justice will be done to each one according to their works. For the enemies of Spiritism. 50. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely. For my sake, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great and near reward in heaven. For so persecuted the prophets which were before you. Matthew 5:5 and 10-12. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Matthew 10:28. 51. Preface. Of all liberties, the most inviolable is that of thought, which includes the liberty of consciences. conscience. To cast a curse against those who do not think as we do is to demand that liberty for ourselves, but refuse it to others, which is a violation of the first commandment of Jesus, which is that of charity and love towards one's neighbor. To persecute others for the beliefs they profess is to attack the most sacred right of man, which is to believe whatever he wishes and to worship God as he sees fit. To compel him to practice exterior acts similar to those we ourselves practice is to show that we are more attached to the form than the essence and to appearances rather than conviction. Forced renouncement will never produce faith. It can only make hypocrites. It is an abuse of material power which does not prove the truth. Truth is sure of itself. It convinces and does not pursue because there is no need. Spiritism is an opinion, a belief. Even if we're a religion, why should its adepts not have the liberty to call themselves spiritists, as do the Catholics, the Jews, and the Protestants, or the participants of this or that philosophical doctrine of this or what that economic order? A belief is either true or false. If it is false, it will fall by itself, seeing that error can stand up against truth when intelligences are enlightened. And if it is true, then persecution will not make it become false. Persecution is the basis of all new ideas that are great and just. It grows with the development and the importance of the idea. The fury and the wrath of his enemies are in direct proportion to the fear it inspires. This is the reason why Christianity was persecuted in the past and why Spiritism is today, with this difference, however, that the former was persecuted by the pagans and the later by the Christians. It is true that the time of no bloody persecution is now past. Nevertheless, if today they no longer kill the body, then they torture the soul, attacking it even its most intimate sentiment in its most dear affection. Families are divided, exciting mothers and against daughters, wives against husbands. Even physical violence is not absent, the body being attacked through the lack of material necessities by taking people away from their means of livelihood, thereby attacking the believer through hunger. See chapter 23, items and subsequent. Spiritists, do not be upset by the blows that are hurled at you because they are the proof that you have the truth. If this were not so, they will leave you in peace and not attack you. It is a test for your faith, since it is through your courage, resignation, and perseverance that God will recognize you as being one of his faithful servants, on whom he is counting as from today to give to each one the part, the rest with them according to their works. Following the example of the first Christian, carry a cross with dignity, believe in the words of Christ when he said, "Blessed are those who suffer persecution for the love of justice, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, for they cannot kill the soul." He also said, "Love your enemies, do good to those who do evil, and pray for those who persecute you. Show yourself to be true disciples, and that your doctrine is good by doing what he said and did." The persecution will not last for long. Await with patience for the coming of the dawn. Since the morning star is already appearing on the horizon, see chapter 24, items 13 and subsequent. 52, prayer. Lord, you have said to us through the lips of Jesus, your Messiah, blessed are those who suffer persecution for love of justice. Forgive your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. And he gave us an example of this by praying for his tormentors. Chapter 28, following this example, 0, Lord, we beg your mercy for those who despise your most scared precepts, which are the only ones capable of bringing peace to this world and the next. As that did Christ, we also say, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Give us strength to support with patience and resignation their mockery, insults, slander, and persecutions as tests for our faith and humility. Free us from all the reprisals, seeing that the hour of justice comes to all, and we await submitting ourselves to your holy will. Prayer for a child that has just been born. Preface. Only after having passed through the tests offered by physical life can spirit reach perfection. Those who are in errant state await God's permission to return to an existence, which can offer them progress, either by the expiation of their faults by means of the vicissitudes to which they will be subjected, or by the undertaking of a mission which will benefit humanity. Their advancement and future happiness will be in proportion to the manner in which they employ the time given to them on earth. The duty of guiding their first steps and of leading them towards goodness is up to their parents, who will have to give an account to God for the degree of fulfillment they gave to this mandate. It was to help them that God made paternal and filial love a law of nature, a law which can never be transgressed with impunity. 54. Prayer to be said by the parents. Dear spirits who has incarnated in the body of our child, we bid you welcome. We thank you and mighty God for the blessing of this child. We know that this is in a trust you have this deposited in us, and for which one day we'll have to give an account. If he or she belong to the new generation of spirits who are to inhabit the earth, we thank you, Lord, for this blessing. If it is an imperfect spirit, it is our duty to help him or progress towards goodness by means of counseling and good example. She falls prey to evil through our fault. We shall be responsible for this, seeing that we shall have failed in our mission. Lord, uphold us in this task and give us the necessary strength and willpower so as to be able to fulfill it to the best of our ability. If this child has come to test our spirits, may your will be done, Lord. Good spirits who have watched over this birth and will accompany this child during the course of his, her, or her new existence. Do not abandon him or her. Turn away from him or her all the evil spirits who will try to tempt him or her into badness. Give this being strength to resist all their suggestions and courage to suffer with patience and resignation the tests await here on earth. See chapter 14, item 9. A collection of spirits prayer. 55. Prayer. Dear God, you have entrusted me with the destiny of your spirits. Therefore, Lord, make me worthy of the task you have set me. Grant me your protection, illuminate my intelligence so that I may perceive right from the beginning the tendencies of the one is. It is my duty to prepare for ascension to your peace. Number 56, prayer. God of infinite goodness, since you have seen fit to permit the spirits of this child to come once again to undergo earthly trials destined to make it progress, give it enlightenment to enough so that it may learn to know you love you and worship you. Through your omnipotence, may this soul regenerate itself from the source of your divine teachings, that under the protection of its guardian angel, its intelligence may develop, amplify, and lead it to aspire to move closer to you. May the science of Spiritism be a brilliant light which illuminates it throughout the many choices of life. And finally, may it learn to appreciate the full extension of your love, which puts us to the test so that we may purify ourselves. Lord, cast a paternal eye over this family to which you have entrusted this soul, so that it may learn to understand the importance of its mission. May the seeds of goodness within this child germinate till such time as, by its own aspirations, it elevates itself to you. O Lord, may it please you to answer this humble prayer in the name of and by the worthiness of He who said, "Let the little children come to me, because the kingdom of heaven is for those who resemble them." For one who agonizes, 57, preface. Agonizing is the prelude to the separation of the soul from the body. It can be said at this moment, the person, one foot on earth and the other in the next world. Sometimes this phase is painful for those who are deeply attached to the worldly things and who live more for the possessions of this world than those of the next one, or whose conscience is agitated by regrets and remorse. On the other hand, for those who thought seek the infinite, who are able to disengage themselves from matter, it is less difficult to break the link which tied them to the earth, and there is nothing of pain in these last moments. Only a thin thread links their physical body to their soul, while in the first case there are thick roots which hold them prisoner. In every case, prayer exists powerful action in the work of separation. See heaven and hell are one second part, chapter 1, the passing. Number 58, prayer. Merciful and omnipotent God, here is a soul who is about to leave its terrestrial occurring in the order to return to the spirit world, which is the real homeland. May it be given to them to make this passing in peace, and may you extend your mercy to them. By Allan Kardec. Do you want me to stop?
You went all the way to the end before number 5, prayers for those who are no longer on art, right?
Yeah, I'm number 58. I just finished that.
Okay, so you finished the 58. Okay, good. Because the translation is so different that sometimes it's okay. Okay, so let's just recap and see what you guys understood, and if you have questions and comments, and even if you don't, let's put in our own words to really internalize the content. So from Thanksgiving for the benefits granted to our enemies. That's piece of cake, right?
Yeah, it's not. I understand it, but you're still a human, and you cannot stop it. Sometimes you see someone like betrayed you and stuff. It's hard to get over it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. That betrayal of the trust is really a hard one. Right. And for me, I think if you can't quite say it yet, just giving time of not, it's better just not to say anything than to try to, but then after maybe time, then you can work on forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, of course, what you're saying, Elizabeth, is very important, because we cannot just say words, right? Empty words. We need to really feel it. Otherwise, this doesn't have any meaning, right? To God, doesn't have any meaning. We can fool ourselves, we can fool others, but not God. So
Yeah.
So it's very wise to give yourselves time if we need it. But having this knowledge, and that's the most important thing that we can take from this reading. Having this as a goal, right? Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. If we have a little child cursing us and saying, "Oh, you were, I don't like you. You were mean, and you were a bad person. You were ugly." It's easier to forget than someone our age or someone we love or someone that's close to us that we have, or even someone that's not close but has always acted as an enemy, or someone that wants to do harm to us. And then we see their progress or their accomplishments and then be able to be happy for them, right? So this is like, this is not about doing things for that, like in a hypocritical way, right? If we cannot do it, don't pretend we are doing, right? Because it's not, again, it's not effective. But having this as a goal, as something that, okay, is something that I can work inside of me to be able to get there. And acknowledge that's hard if one is hard, but knowing that if that's our goal, is for our own benefit as well, right? And also knowing that we are not alone. The hardest tasks we can accomplish, we can overcome, are the most meritorious ones, are the ones that's going to grant us most growing spiritually, and the ones that's going to help us to overcome more sufferings in our own lives here and in the future lives. So having all this in mind is something that we can do. If we are not capable of, they were not going to ask us to do, right? So it's all about knowing our limitations. Okay, this is really hard. Sorry, God, I cannot really feel anything good for that person that did harm to me at this moment. But please help me. Please help me to overcome this feeling, this hate, this anger, or this resentment, or this pain, or whatever it is that we are feeling. Please help me to overcome and to be able to give love to that person back. And when we do that, when we have that desire, instead of just sitting and saying, I cannot do it, let's just wait. I can't. It's too hard. What they did was very serious. Now I cannot forgive. Instead of just doing that, be active in a process of overcoming that. Be active in the sense of really asking our guides, asking our angels, asking all the enlightened spirits to help us, because that's what we are here for, to grow, right? We are not here to have fun or for our vacation. We are here to grow spiritually. Otherwise, all our pains and sufferings would not be worth it. So let's make it make the best we can on overcoming, outgrowing our own limitations. So I think it's the most beautiful thing. And the other thing that is important for us to remember, that makes this task easier eventually over time, is to remember that they do that to us. The enlightened spirits, our guides, our angels, God himself, he does that to us. They forgive us. It's not about just forgiving, it's to be loving and continue to love and continue to send love to someone that do us harm. there's a lot of people who don't believe in God or don't respect the enlightened spirits or their own guides and their own angels. I have seen a lot of people cursing them. Did you ever see? Like people saying stuff like I'm not even gonna dare to repeat, but we all have seen people that doing that. And what God does to them, he just gives love back. He just look at us with love and compassion and give us the tools for us to overcome. Give us like some people who are going to say something that's going to help that person to see in a different way, or someone who give them love that would help them to overcome their anger that they are, so trapped into it. There's so many ways that God help when we do that to them. So if it wasn't for that, we would be in bad shape, right? Because directly or indirectly, we do mess up all the time, right? We mess up. And sometimes we even do bad things for other people without even wanting or knowing sometimes. Or sometimes we do because we are angry, right? But if God would give us like no chance to repair, to do better next time, to learn from our own mistakes, what would be for us, right? It would be like we'll be in a bad shape. So remembering that we have that, we receive that from God all the time, from our guides, from our spirits. So if we receive from them, is worth it to make that effort to also give to the others, because the best remedy for evil is love. That's the only way. If someone that do harm, if we put like give the same remedy, like give back the same amount of anger, they're just gonna have more reason to be angry or do harm to us, right? They are not gonna reflect. They're just gonna say, "Oh, see, they deserve it. They are like messed up. They deserve to suffer. So I'm just gonna keep doing harm to them because they are bad people." So give them munition to just keep doing what they do. So the only way to break the evil, quote unquote, right? Like the bad things, the bad behaviors on others, the bad circumstances, the bad whatever, is to respond with love. And when it's really hard, that is the best situation, because that is when we can really grow. I remember one time a friend told me something. He's an athlete and he competed in several marathons and this and that. And he was telling me that when people see an athlete winning, they have no idea what they need to go through to get there. No athlete really likes to practice, to go through the pain and the routine and the boredom of the practice and the discipline every single day. They don't like it. But that's the only condition for them to improve and to get to a position to win. So it was really enlightening to me, because it's true, right? And that's the same thing with everything we do in life here, including spirituality. It's not fun to put the effort to overcome our own obstacles, but it's the only condition through which we are going to find happiness through our spiritual growth. We are here in this planet because we are not developed enough to be in a place with no suffering, no diseases, no losses, no difficulties. no violence. When we are able to, when we grow enough, we are going to be able to live in the places that don't have any of this. But depends on our effort. And this is like one of the most challenging ones. Like you guys said very well, we all know we are all humans. And that's one of the most difficult challenges because it goes against our animal nature. So being enlightened spirits goes against our animal nature, which is more primitive. Our animal nature says when you receive a punch, you punch back. Self-defense, right? If someone attacks you, you attack back. That's our animal nature. If someone gives you hate, you give hate back because that's self-defense. Being spiritually enlightened goes against our natural animal nature because it's more elevated. Being spiritually enlightened goes against matter, goes against this very dense material existence, our tendencies as material beings. So it puts us in another platform where we need to make an effort. And as you make the effort, it becomes easier and easier. And then perhaps next life is going to be easier. Perhaps, I don't know how long each one of us are going to take to be able to live in another planet that's more elevated, more spiritual than Earth. And then when you get there, it's going to be even more easy because everybody's going to be nicer as well. There's going to be less violence, less hatred amongst everyone. So it becomes more and more easy. So it pays off, and also it's important for us to remember that we cannot grow without effort. That's the whole point of evolution. We need to see, okay, this is really hard, but I have to do it. If I cannot do it right now, let's ask God and our angels and our guides to help us. And if we still don't succeed, we are going to try again next life. But it's going to be easier because at least we tried. We have understood already that we have to do it. So then next trials are going to be easier and easier and easier as we put the effort to get there. But it's not going to go by osmosis, like wait. We cannot just wait. We need to work for it. And the experiences, the challenges that we are put across in life, in our lives, are opportunities for us to practice and to overcome those difficulties that we all have, the obstacles and our own limitations, and to grow into the next step. Any other comment or question about everything we read so far here? The prayers for the children, our children.
Pardon?
The prayer for our new children, our newborn children.
Oh.
We read that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that I connect with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't choose the spirits who's gonna get into your kids. You don't know what to expect, Go ahead.
They're always easy and cute and angelic, right? As they start to grow, then oh my God. Sometimes they are really wonderful people. Sometimes they can be challenging. Yeah, that's interesting. And having that understanding and that knowledge that, okay, I have this mission, regardless of who that person is. I have this responsibility as a parent to help them, whatever they here to do to make them better. as much as I can, right?
Yeah, and that spoke to me too. Okay, well, my daughters now are teenagers. It's the difficult years for the girl and the mother going through.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking back to when they were little, it was easier.
I know.
It's much more challenging now. They're, especially the younger, is getting very independent. Well, and the older too. It's just, it gets more challenging.
Yeah.
And
How old are they?
well, the oldest is 19, and the my baby is 14, going on
Oh, wow.
15. So.
I know. That's when they really start to become who they are, to discover
Mhm.
themselves. And of course, teenage years are challenging for them as well. So they have all sorts of conflicts. They want anything to do with parents, to
Mhm.
build their independence. So it's challenging. But nevertheless, it's always, as they keep growing and to keep giving the unconditional love and to guide them, but without overcoming, right, their individuality and their own identity and stuff is really hard.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to not, let it be their, it's ultimately their choice, but try to give them guidance, but not too much, because then they might be rebellious. So it's just a hard balance. So,
It is. It's a growing process for the parents and
mhm.
for for them and for the relationship is, but keeping in mind that, okay, I have this mission, is a mission that we embraced even before we are born,
Mhm.
and they have chosen us to be their parents regardless of they are rebellious.
Oh, they choose discipline with me. No, I was kidding. It's gonna go that way. Oh my goodness.
I know, it's like it's a learning process, so we can never say, oh, I'm gonna be like this and this and that with my kids. No, we need to grow with them because otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah. I feel like I have an advantage though, because I've my business, or hire more mostly like kids, students. So I
uh,
kind of feel I already know what it is that, like, what she was saying. You have
yeah,
to teach them. Don't go too deep because they might rebel against you. I totally understand that.
yeah. You need to be like just, on the side and kind of and praying a lot. Praying
Yeah.
a lot. Because most of this stuff is just like, oh my God, they're angels and God and not, but also be available when they come, right? For troubleshooting or to solve a problem or to help them and for guidance or something. So this, yeah. And the persecution, the other thing we read in this chapter, the persecution against our beliefs, right? Like they're talking about spiritism, but there's this whole thing about humanity has this tendency of everything that's new is not even just about religion. Like you see this in art, right? An artist that's like above ahead of his time is never really accepted, right, by his contemporaries. Like people, criticize them harshly, and some of them are persecuted, and and with religion is the same, but keeping the balance of, okay, being truthful with ourselves and with our experience with God. And also the beauty of spiritism is that we don't reject anyone. We understand that there's no perfect religion. It's all about our own relationship with spirituality and God, and whatever way you makes sense to you, just fine, and we need to respect each other. We need to respect our differences, and but not everyone understand that. Like even to this day, when this book was written back in the 1800s, imagine, right, the level of persecution that spiritists were suffering, not only in Europe but United States and all over the world. So it was like, and to this day, a lot of people think that's stuff from the devil, right? Like mediumship and all that
Oh yeah.
from the devil. So people don't understand what it is. It's just a natural thing that we all have as humans. We have this ability to communicate with the spiritual world, and is as part of our own growth, as our own evolution as humanity, to refine our senses, to refine our connection with the divine in ways that we become more and more aware of the spiritual world for our own growth. And this, because the relationship always existed, right? And but our awareness and our refinement to perceive them and to understand them, that's what is changing with the evolution of humanity. So this is a wonderful thing, and it is a natural thing as well, that it's not like nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. It's something that everyone can experience as we polish and improve our own abilities to have our relationship with God in a deeper way. So, but again, we cannot reply with hatred or with anything that's negative to those who don't understand us. We just need to wait. We cannot like say, "Oh, you don't know anything. That's why you criticize my mediumship or my no, whatever." Each one has their own free will, first of all, to believe whatever they want, and also their own stages of evolution. And some people are able to understand those kind of things. Some people don't, but each one has their own time, and we are not better than them because of that. We need to respect them the same way. So very good. So
Or one who organizes too. That's interesting.
what's
For
that?
for one who organizes.
For the one who organizes, I don't understand which
Agonizes.
agonizes. Oh yes, yeah. I have prayers for them, right? Yeah, I have this kind of compassion.
Attached to the material stuff, and then they freak out when they want to they're going to pass away. And that was interesting.
Yes.
I get, yeah. I think when it's my time, I'm gonna be excited. It's kind of weird to say, but yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, just watch out how you change as you become more and more attached to your child.
My child, yeah.
Yeah,
That's that thing that kicked in not long time ago. I was like, holy cow, I cannot do this. I don't want to die because they're young. And I'm like, now I'm thinking differently. It was like, I
yeah,
do some like kind of deep hikes in the mountains. It's dangerous, I'm a solo guy, so I'm like, ugh, like,
yeah, exactly. So there's some things we used to do before having a child, like in this whole detachment. I used to not care if I die or leave. I never wanted to die, like never wanted to take my own life, but I was careless about like, okay, if God wants to take me today or tomorrow or the next day, fine. I was not afraid or not worried about it. As soon as I had a daughter, my daughter, everything changed.
yeah,
I was like, oh my God, I need to take care of that creature, right?
yeah, yeah. I was like you too. I was like, did care. Like I already had a big accident. I already died, and I came back, and I already know. So I'm like, but now I'm like, ooh, I have, I have a job to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and but yes, but our attachment to to the material and stuff, and something that we all need to kind of always reflect back and forth. Some people has more problems with that, some people have less, but the attachment with the material is not just money or righteousness or anything like that. It's about the life in here, right? The control of having over our own lives, and and it's hard, really hard.
Yeah. For me, it's the nature. I'm attached. That's why it would be hard to let go. That all is nature. Like, I know it's better on the other side, but man, nature here is so cool, and the
Yeah.
3D, and it's raw. It's more raw. It's more tough here.
Yes, true. But as long as we have the knowledge, right, that's the privilege we are having by studying those things that everybody has, by studying those things that they share with us. So as soon as we know that, then that becomes like somehow a task to us. Okay, that's the goal. Let me keep working on that, and let me observe myself, and go in that direction. And there's always layers, right, of everything. It's like when we think that, okay, I think I'm good, I detach from things that I was very attached before, and then there's other circumstances in life that puts, oh my God, yes, I still need to work on this. And so then, there's always new layers, but that's the beauty of life, right? It's a dynamic thing, and our progression and our evolution is never ending. And as long as we keep going forward, that's fine. That's all we can do. All right, so we are 5 minutes from the end. We have reached the end of this part. Perhaps we can start over next week on this part instead of starting now. We are not going to be able to finish that part anyway, so it's going to be better to catch up next week on that part. So let's do our final prayer. Dear God, thank you very much for all those wonderful teachings, for the reflections and the exchanges we can make with each other and help each other in this growing process, which is our life in here and our evolution as spirits in each incarnation. Thank you very much for your unconditional love, sharing with us precious knowledge and helping us and giving us help, and your spirit guides and angels to help us in each step, in each obstacle we have, so we can progress each time and each day. Help us with our limitations, with our difficulties. We all have different challenges in life, but we are all somehow, is still in this process of evolving. And for that, we ask your help to overcome our limitations in order to grow as spirits. Help us to also help others, help us to be beams of light to those around us, so we can help humanity to grow and our planet to heal, and to become a better place. Thank you for your unconditional love. Amen. All right, so I hope you all can join us, the ones who are watching us from home. Everybody's welcome to join us next week, next Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Just contact me through my Facebook page, Revenant, or my website, Revenant World, and I'll be happy to include you in our live discussions. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.